Hello everybody, my name is Roman Stadelmeier and I want to show you a solution I generated out of Service Manager and the Provence IT Asset Management Pack to charge back your end users. Something I heard very often from customers and partners. Okay, first the agenda. What do we want to charge back, or the question to start with, then the chargeback model, then something you need to promise to yourself, then the data warehouse, the extensions we do, then a query of the data mart database, and finally I will show you the report which is coming out. So first question is, what do we actually want? In my example, the IT wants to charge customers or users for specific assets they use. So this example is only a hardware asset report. I'm working on a software asset report as well. The model will be quite similar, but currently we're only doing hardware. Okay, so if a user uses hardware or specific hardware, we want to charge them. The report should be on a monthly basis. Well, it could be weekly, it could be quarterly or yearly. The question is, decide what you want. In our case, it's monthly. Then very important is that the chargeback fee is independent of the purchase price. So if you use a specific model, like in my case I have a tablet X201, and purchase it over time, it might be more expensive at the beginning and maybe cheaper at the end. Finally, the IT is providing a service with this asset. So we have a purchase side and we have a chargeback side of the world, and we're only looking at the chargeback side. Well, we want an Excel-style reporting for maximum flexibility. So we want to have pivot tables and filtering and charts and all that stuff. So no static PDF-style reports. So we want to have the data massaged afterwards as well. Okay, so what is the chargeback model? This is something which needs to be decided. In our case, I thought we start at a cost center. Organizations have cost centers, and this is normally the basis of charging users. These cost centers have people or users which are related to that cost center. In Service Manager or Provence, this is represented in the cost center as members. Okay, so in that orange ellipse here, we see the members of this cost center. Okay, from the user perspective, it's a so-called affiliation. So if a user is affiliated to the consulting cost center, it's shown in the cost center as a member. Okay, the users have assets. So whatever it is, a monitor, a PC, a mobile phone, a coffee machine, we don't care. The relationship needs to be defined. So in the asset itself, there is this assigned. So we have this asset, and we have the assigned to user. So this arrow here should point to that assigned to user down there. Okay, so if this relationship exists, we assume this user uses that asset. And the assets are based finally on models, which is here, which is a necessary relation which has to be maintained. And the model then has a cost per time. Time frame means it could be a week, a month, a quarter, a year. In our example, we use cost per month. Okay, the promise you have to do yourself. So the promise you have to keep is so you promise that I will implement processes, rules and procedures to keep the data quality as high as possible. Because let's look back at the slide before. if that relationship chain, that properties are not added correctly, and if changes are not tracked correctly, you will end up charging people for assets they don't have, and they will get angry. And to do that, in Provence, you should use the tasks to make sure that the relevant relationships are properly maintained during the IMACD life cycle of assets. So movements, disposals, reassignments of children, retires. So Provence is no status tracking tool, it's asset management. So please use these tasks here so that all your assets have the appropriate status. So, and as in many license agreements, you clicked on agree, but this time please be sure you really agree and you really will do it. You're pretty sure you absolutely agree and will implement so that assets and people are happy, and you as an asset manager especially. Okay, so as you are sure that you agree to do that, let's see what we have changed in our system. The first thing we changed is we extended the hardware catalog item with one simple property. And this property is called the hardware catalog item ChargeBack value field, which is simply a number. And in this little example here, it's a hardware catalog item Samsung mobile phone 8FS, and we say we charge people 15 euros, dollars, whatever, per month if they use it. The second thing we changed for a future example is the software title with the exact same idea. So it's called a software title ChargeBack value, and it's an extension of the default class. The management pack I provide is the ChargeBack extension management pack, and it will do exactly that. Simply add two properties. The second thing which needs to change or extended is some data we are missing in the data warehouse from the default Provence implementation, and these are the user affiliations. They are in your live database, but they are not in the data warehouse. So as you don't want to query data warehouse plus live database, I've wrote a management pack to push them to the data warehouse. So these fact tables here, system user has cost center, has location, and has organizations, are up in the data warehouse, so we can use it. And this is called Provence user affiliations to the DW management pack. Okay, so now it's getting a little bit technical, but as an asset manager needs to, probably wants to create his own reports, you should understand what I do here. To get the data we want, we need to query the data warehouse, and in our case, the DW data mart. And what we're doing here is, don't get scared, I just explain it. The first line is we do a select statement and want to have the display name, the username, so the cost center of the display name of the cost center, the username, asset, model, type, and price per month. This is the definition of the columns we want in our result. So cost center, username, asset, model, type, and price. To get that, we start at the cost center dimension. So please remember that cost center view here, or cost center icon. We query the cost center dimension, and now we are looking at this fact table here. Does this cost center have users? And are they deleted? So this is obligatory here, so we don't want to get deleted data. The next query, the next line shows, okay, if it has some, so who is that? So we're querying the system user dim view and link it to the key we just got out of the fact table. So we get the users. The users are queried, do they have assets? So this line here shows the relation between user and asset, and we get all the keys of the assets they have, and then we query with this line the asset dim view and get all the assets they have. So next line is which hardware catalog items are these assets, with again a fact table, hardware asset catalog item fact view, and then we get through the hardware catalog dim view we get the catalog item, and then we query the type of the catalog item to have this field here, type field. Okay, finally we order it by cost center and username. Okay, the Excel style reporting is done with the SSRS report designer, which is really easy to use if you did it once. So you have this diagram or dashboard, spark lines, databases stuff, table, pivot tables type. So simply use it and create this view. I created it myself the first time. It was so easy. So I generated something like this. Okay, so and please be sure you agreed to implement processes and use the tasks that the data is kept correctly. Okay, so spoken enough. Let's go to the demo. We have my demo system here, and let's look at the administration area of Provence and take one of the cost centers. Okay, we have consulting cost center here, and if I edit this one, I have a membership. Okay, so there are 3 people in this cost center, and if I open that one, I get the user object, and the user object, I can click on View Related Hardware Assets, and wow, that guy is HardwareAsset. What the hell is he using? He's having 3 monitors, 1 notebook, 1 docking station, and a communication device. What the hell is he carrying around all the whole day? Okay, nevertheless, we have a lifecycle status installed here everywhere. The query I just showed you might use the lifecycle status in the future that only installed machines are queried. It is just an example, but for real-time environments, this might be something you want to integrate. Okay, so this was the path now from cost center to user to asset, and then we open up this particular asset and see which model that is. The extension field here, and in this extension field we see it has a hardware ChargeBack value of 15 euros, dollars, whatever. Okay, so that data is then loaded to the data warehouse in scheduled intervals, so in hourly or 5 minutes intervals. And finally, we are using that data in the data warehouse to have our custom report. So our hardware ChargeBack report is pre-configured, and in the next session I will show you how to do that. And if we click on Run Report, it's generating exactly what we queried. So we see all the cost centers here, and just 2 of them have people with assets to be chargebacked. So that's a very good example of very bad data. So maybe the generic or the project cost centers are not correctly entered, or they have no users. We don't know. But if there is good data in, we can see, okay, the consulting cost center, there's 3 people in it, and 1 of them is charged 15 euros for communication devices, 10 for docking station, 30 euros for monitors, and 50 for notebook. Okay, so with this drill down function in the reporting services, we can really walk down and see the device, the model, and which particular asset costs the 15 euros here. And let's use it with monitors. So he has 2 monitors here. So Roman in that case pays 10 euros for this Lenovo monitor and 20 for the Samsung. And we see there are 2 of them. So we zoom in here. So the data we get is really possible to drill down to particular fields and then have a sum value on the cost center in sum and each individual, and you can exactly figure out who pays what and why. Just for example, there is a little graph down here, which was a one-click feature of the reporting services. So you could use that graph here, or maybe other features of SSRS to show your data even more pretty. Okay, so then finally you can export that to CSV, to Excel, to a Word file. All the features of reporting are available then, and schedule it monthly, weekly to your users, and get your money for your IT services. Okay, that's it. The next session will show you how to implement that.